Anybody falling for it? Hey guys, it's Nat, and today we are here live. I should have refilled my cup of coffee, but I didn't. And today we're going to talk about sleep, about getting your twins to sleep, about you sleeping, about how you're not sleeping. And I'm pretty stoked because today, for the first time ever, we are doing a chat that is brought to us by our sponsor. So today I would just like to say cheers to Love to Dream Swaddlers. We're going to talk about it throughout the little chat that we have here, but it is right now the preferred swaddler of Twiniversity, and it's been knocking our socks off for a while. So what I would like to do is give everybody another second to join in, and oh my gosh, you're streaming in. It makes me so excited. Julia's on with us too, and I'm hoping that Elizabeth is also here from Love to Dream. So, Elizabeth, if you're here, give us a little shout out because not only is it great to have me here speaking to you, but we have Jewel on backup, and I'm pretty sure the rest of the Twiniversity crew is here. But we also have Elizabeth, who is from Love to Dream. So, it's perfect if we have any questions that we get stumped with, and well, about the swaddler. And that's it. So, I don't know if anybody read this little book. Woo! I'm just going to do a lot of shameless plugs today. This is actually still the number one. Hey, Tony, what's up? This is still the number one book in Amazon, and I'm super excited. So, does anybody have any sleep questions that it's bothering you today? And maybe we could just jump right in. And come on, guys, I'm open to everything. I got my coffee. Yes. Mike. Cheers to Mike. He's swimming today. I hope he has the whole day off with Julie. But let's talk about some sleep in general. So I would love to know, first of all, if you guys have your twins or if you're expecting. So could we do, thank you. I love that. Could we please do a little bit of roll call? I'd love to know who is on with us right now. So clearly we can see your name, but we would love to know how old your 20s are or if you're expecting. So could you just take a second and let me know if you are expecting 20s or if your 20s are here? I would just love to know. And I'm also going to stream this on my computer too, just to make sure that I do not lose any of your questions. Oh, cool. And Colgate's joining us too. So thank you, Colgate. Please welcome. Stay for a while, grab your cup of coffee, and we're definitely going to have some chats. All right, so we have some little babies. We have 11-month-old twin boys. Julia, are you sleeping with your 11-month-old? How are they sleeping so far? I would love to know your experience so far with that. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. Everything is... Oh, congratulations. You're expecting. Brittany's expecting. All right. So as this is all coming in, listen, Elizabeth, it is my pleasure. You know that I've always loved the Love to Dream Swaddler. So here's how I met the Love to Dream Swaddlers. So I saw them quite a few years ago at the ABC Expo, where I go and get educated on all the latest innovations and products that are out there that are good for twins. But what really kind of sealed the deal on why we should be working with this company versus all others is they work with a foundation called First Candle. And if you ever needed information on SIDS, which of course nobody wants to talk about it, but as you know at Twiniversity, there is no topic that's ever off limits. They work with SIDS, and swaddling is so important, and SIDS is such an epidemic in certain situations, and I just love the way that they work together. And the thing that I loved most about the Love to Dream swaddle is, very unfortunately, I do not have one with me. Elizabeth, please forgive me. But what I like about that is, first of all, it has no hazards. It has no snaps, no Velcros, no loose fabric. It's a zipper that just goes straight from the bottom to the top, and it keeps your little baby secure. But you know how most traditional swaddlers, you either swaddle like this, or the baby's hands down, or the baby's hands up? This swaddles your baby with his little paws up in the sky. And why this is so important is, first of all, this is a much more natural position for a human to be in versus like this. I mean, I don't know how many of you sleep like this, but then again, I don't know how many of us sleep like this. But let's say your baby rolled over at night, right? The Love to Dream Swaddler gives them the opportunity to push their little faces up and to move it from side to side because they're not stuck kind of in this little baby cocoon. So that is something that really rocks my universe, and I love that Hannah and the team have really put such unbelievable time, and it is originally an Australian product, and we're very happy to have it here. Okay, let us get to some questions. Jewel, if you want to text some over to me, feel free, but I'm going to answer Julia's question. Okay, she said our issue now is that we end up holding them to fall asleep on the couch for a long time in a shared room. We've tried to put them down after their bottle and it just doesn't happen. When we go to reassure them after 10 minutes, it just seems to irritate them more. Okay, Julia, let's work with you. Tell me right now, I'm going to look to see if I could find it. Remind me how old your twinnies are, because this will, it will make a difference on how we discuss this. Because in the very beginning, you can't really expect your twinnies to fall asleep on their own. They don't have the biology. 11 months, perfect. Okay, they should be able to fall asleep at this age. So the first thing that I would do is, now I also want to say that a great place to go for resources besides ours is to go to thesleeplady.com. Julie will shoot you over a text in the side, but that's Kim West. She's a very good friend of Twiniversity, and she's always been unbelievably helpful with specifically answering sleep questions. So this one isn't too challenging. So here's what I'm going to say, Julia. Since you're kind of feeding them and then putting them down, they fall asleep on the couch for a long time. All right, I'm trying to figure out, is this for all feeds? Is this for some feeds? I kind of want to get that gist, but I'm just going to assume that it is for all feeds. A good thing that you need to get into is having a sleep kind of routine. What does your sleep routine look like? Right now, your sleep routine, if I can tell from what you're saying, is that you hold them until they fall asleep, and then you put them down, and then you go in to reassure them, and all hell breaks loose, right? Maybe today, let's try to develop a sleep routine. It's just the nighttime feeding, okay? That is also good to know. Julia, what I'm going to ask you next question is because, and you know, sleep is really tricky in this situation, that there's a lot of back and forth with this. Julia, what time are you putting them down to bed, and what time are they waking up in the morning? A lot of people think that, oh, if my baby isn't falling asleep at night, then I'm probably putting them down too early, when it is exactly the opposite. If you miss that window of where they get tired at 7, okay, crazy as it sounds, I would say put them to bed at 6:30, or I would put them to bed at 6:45. I would try to get that little sleep window, and truthfully, 7 may be too late for them. And you know, start your sleep routine that's different from your daytime routine. That is phenomenal that they have conquered the daytime naps. But I would start a sleep routine, whether it is, you know, a bath and then a bottle and then a book. And I always remind parents that kids don't actually know what you're reading. So whether you are reading, you know, Goodnight Moon, or whether you're reading Entertainment Weekly, kids don't know. So use that as your time to catch up on some reading that you have to do for work. Or, you know, I'm not saying you could read 50 Shades to the kids, but I'm also not saying you can't. That's what I'm saying. So tonight, or plan on this, you need to have kind of an organized plan. So they wake up at 5. See, they wake up at 5. So that's not even a real wake up. Then they go back to bed and then they get up at 7. Okay, now speak to your doctor about nighttime feeding, Julia. Make sure that your kids are able to go through the night without a feed. And you may even want to skip that 5 a.m. feed, but that's something that you need to speak to your doctor about, because I don't know their birth weight and so on and so forth. But what this is goes for everybody, by the way. This is not just for Julia, because she has such a common situation that I think this is going to span everybody. So come up with a plan, okay? Come up with a team. There may be some crying involved. Are you okay with crying involved? There's definitely different sleep methods that you could apply. Some are a lot more gentle and some are definitely a lot more hardcore. It really depends on the point that you are at. Like if you're like, I can't take it anymore, you may want to go the little more drastic end with full on cry it out. But if you have a little bit more patience, then what you could do is you may want to apply Kim West's method, which is the Sleep Lady Shuffle. So you put the kids in their room, you sit down, let them fall asleep, let them see you, and then you slowly kind of migrate out of the room. Now, for everybody, no matter if your kids are 6 months and up, if your kids are not sleeping through the night, parents of twins sleep train more, or sleep coach, whatever you want to call it. They sleep coach more than the average bear. And the reason is, gentle reminder, there's two babies. I like to burp during live feeds. It's always exciting. My apologies. And I may actually have to put my hair up because this room is turning into a sweat box. It's always fun. Where's my hair thing? Yeah, guys, I'm just going in. So, what was I just saying? I was saying that you need to have a plan. And the plan is what sleep method are you going to choose? Who is going to be on your sleep team? Because I find that breastfeeding moms have a much more difficult time with sleep coaching than parents who are not. Because if you are a breastfeeding mom and you're trying to sleep train your babies, when your babies cry, you produce milk, and then it's actually could become painful, and it's a whole other process. And I find that dads don't have, now this might sound a little un-PC, and I'm going to go on the record and say that, but I find that dads have a component that make it easier for them to sleep train. Because our component is, when we have these kids, it's telling moms, the baby's crying, go in and rescue them. Go in and rescue them at all costs. Because that is what happens. That's our instinct. Our instinct is to go rescue these babies. Now, with dads, I find that they often have an easier time sleep coaching or sleep training the babies. All right. I'm all over the board here. I got to get organized. I'm so excited is the problem to just be on live with you guys that I'm losing my marbles. So here's the thing, Julia. Today I would put the kids down earlier than usual. If you put them down together at 7, I would put them down together at 6. No, I would put them down at 6:30. I would have some kind of sleep routine, reading them a book, a bath, like I said. Have something that you're going to do that kind of says, hey, tonight's the night. We're going to, this is how we're going to go to sleep for the night, and we love you. And then you also might want to give them a dream feed at around 11:30 and 12. Now, if you need a schedule, there are different schedules in the book for both newborns as well as older babies. So if you do not have this book, please do not think that this is just for expectant families. This book is genuinely for everybody, and you could get it on Amazon today, download it on your Kindle or even on your phone, and you could have those schedules tonight. All right. Now, let's go to another question. We are going to go down. All right, they wake up at 5. How many naps are good for twins at 1 year old? I would think that 2 naps would be most appropriate for this time. I would say try to stay with 2 naps for as long as possible. I just like that idea because it gives them, babies grow when they're resting. And so if they're still tolerating 2 naps, I would still take 2 naps. Now here, let's do, Julia, please, it's my pleasure. I would like to do a little survey. If you have babies that are 1 year and older, can you tell me how many of you guys have babies that are sleeping more than 1 nap? All right. All right. Oh, sorry. Getting texts from my husband. Yeah, I still say 2. I think that a 9 o'clock and then like a 1 o'clock nap or even a 3 o'clock nap, depending on what time they're getting up. Because remember, that also plays a role into how long they're going to nap and what time they got up. But 2 power naps at 1 year old, holy Moses, that's fantastic. It's when they drop that second nap that kind of all heck breaks loose, right? So you realize that you lost your time, but the thing that you gain is you gain a little bit more freedom. Yeah, I'm thinking now, I think my kids, no, they just took 2 naps, but there's quite a few families out there who take 3 naps because let's say your husband, has to be at work at 5 o'clock in the morning. So the whole house wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning. If you're waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you may want to add an additional nap before full bedtime because not everybody could let the kids sleep through the ruckus of the day or whatever. So yes, 2 naps is what they should be doing at this time. Okay, the other thing that I wanted to mention is that our sponsor today, the Love to Dream Swaddler, was chosen as a finalist for the 2016 Eco Excellence Award by the Natural Child World magazine. So if you have a moment, I would greatly appreciate if you would go and vote. Jules is going to throw it to the side and she's going to give you our link. And I also wanted to tell you that if you are using a Love to Dream swaddler and you live in a warmer climate, please make sure that you're using the light version. We don't want our babies getting overheated, and we're very lucky that they make a traditional version, they make an organic version, and then they also make a light version. So if you are expecting and you're registering, think about how old your babies were going to be in the summertime, and then you are going to want to make sure that you're registering for the light versions of the swaddler during that time that they will be there. Okay, let's see. Jules is so good. All right, let's see. Hi, Christy. Christy Lynn. What a great name. I love it so much. At what age does the night feed stop? My twins are 4 months old, 3 months corrected. One of them sleeps from 8:30 to 5 sometimes. Recently, she started getting up for feeding. I think she's going, I'm going to say, through a growth spurt. Yes. My boy consistently wakes up around 1:30 to eat. I am not sure if it's too early for them to sleep through the night, but if not, what am I doing wrong? Okay, first of all, the thing that you're doing wrong is you think that you're doing something wrong. That's your first problem. You're not doing anything wrong. Unless this is your 7th set of twins, you certainly are not doing anything wrong. So please, Chrissy, let's leave the guilt to me. Okay, I love me some guilt. I will take it all. You are not doing anything wrong, okay? What I will tell you, though, is this is a question for your pediatrician. So regardless of their adjusted and corrected age, they have to be a certain weight in order for them to not need that night feed anymore. They're still kind of a little bit on the young side. So at 4 months, it's kind of teetering. When is it acceptable? Is it not acceptable? And remember, it's not like you're going to put them in at 7 o'clock and then say, adios, babes. See you later, alligators. What's going to happen is you're going to institute a dream feed. And so right before you go to bed, you're going to creep into their tiny rooms. You're going to change their diaper. You're going to feed them, not tandemly. It's the only time that I don't recommend you tandemly feed your babies. You're going to get them, change them. Always change them, by the way. You're going to change them. You're going to feed them. And then you are going to put them back in their cribs. And prayerfully, they will not wake up. But I do think that it's actually a little bit early to drop the night feeds, especially if they were born 4 weeks early. But, that's really not bad that they were born 4 weeks. But I don't want you to feel bad. That's what's making me feel bad. I feel like with twin parents, we have so much guilt and we have so many things that we think that we should be doing. And it really makes me cuckoo. Okay, now we have a comment here. Yes. So our folks are visiting us today. So Colgate Mattresses joined us, and they are committed to getting babies to sleep safely. They've given some links over, and you definitely want to check out their goodies. They are a family-owned company, USA made. Love them. Alan, their big cheese there, definitely holds a tiny piece of my heart. And I love that it's a family company. But I'm hoping that someday Twiniversity will be a family company. But that's only if my daughter has twins, because if she has singletons, she's just not going to get it. I don't necessarily think that twins get what we're going through. So that is what I'm going to say about that. All right, Christy, I love you. Don't feel bad. All right, Veronica, how much or little should my 8-week-old fratties be sleeping during the day? So 8 weeks. They're still little. Veronica, they're brand new. They just got to Earth. God bless them. They should be taking quite a few naps, actually. You should be waking them up to feed. That is definitely for sure. As if your doctor, I'm sure you spoke to your doctor, but at 8 weeks, they're still on a 3-hour feeding schedule or on a 4-hour feeding schedule. But truthfully, I wouldn't put a timer on it yet. I wouldn't say, okay, they're 8 weeks, they need 3 2-hour naps, and this is what's going to happen. They're still a little bit young. I would focus more on the feeding schedule, and we could talk about feeding schedules, and I know some people like to feed on demand. And I want to say also that my disclaimer is, you guys know that my word isn't law, right? You could do whatever you want. So any advice that I give you, it has to fit you and sleep and twins and families and, feeding schedules. This is not a one-size-fits-all situation. Everybody's family is going to be different all across the world. And I just want to gently remind you of that, because if I say like, hey, don't really focus on the sleep schedule as much, but you're like, you know what? I got to focus on something. I'm going to focus on this sleep schedule. Then you do what works best for you and your family. But I don't want you to, it's not as hard and fast rules until you start sleep training. And then I would say that naps turn into about 2 hours. But before then, I don't think that you should focus that much, but they should be sleeping. And I would, if you can, Veronica, if you can manage, I would have them sleep in their crib as much as possible. If you could get used to putting them in drowsy but awake, so you give them their feed, keep them up for a little bit. See, you look for the signs like the slow yawn or the slow blink. I just heard my New York, like it came out and went back in really hard. Ooh, I almost lost you guys, but I'm here. Okay. So you look for signs that they're sleepy. So you look for the slow blink. You look for kind of like that sluggishness. You don't want them yawning. If they're yawning, I think it might be a little bit late. But if you do see them yawning, don't get too stressed out. But I would say for this age, don't focus too much on sleeping. Focus more on eating, and then the sleeping kind of just falls into play in that. Now, I also wanted to remind you guys, for expecting families, I think Valerie or somebody is, Jules, check the messages and tell me what Valerie just said. I also like to say, for expecting families, you know that we have online classes, and then Julie teaches in Chicago, and I teach in New York City, or anywhere in New York City. I guess people from Connecticut, and I mean, I've had families as far as Canada come down for a Twiniversity class. So if you are in the area, we do talk about sleep extensively, about setting up a sleep routine, how to get it on schedule. If, most of those families are expecting, but that's kind of the best time to learn sleep techniques, is because if you could just come out of the gate and start off fresh and be like, okay, I know that the three important sleep situations, right, is we know that it's a dark room. Baby should be sleeping in a dark room, which helps them signify light from dark. White noise. I am a massive, massive advocate of white noise for two reasons. Number one, it's for the babies, right? So it helps the baby settle. If you think that it was quiet in utero, I always say that your womb is the equivalent of Times Square on New Year's Eve. It is loud in there. So if you bring the babies home and you put them into a quiet room, it's a little disturbing to them. It's just too quiet. And then the last situation is cool temperature. Always make sure that your baby is sleeping at the proper temperature. And if you're really worried about it, you may want to get a thermostat for their room just to be sure. And a white noise doesn't necessarily have to be a white noise machine. It could be an app that you're using. Sleep Sheep is really fantastic for this. Look, no joke. I still have a Twilight Turtle. The Twilight Turtle is fantastic. My kids still sleep with it every night. And they crawled into my room last night, and that is what they brought with them. But that's a white noise machine. All right, Paula says, one of my twins is waking in the night. He is not hungry. He just wants me. And he's now 2.5. And I have to sit with him for the hour until he falls back asleep to sleep his brother now. Okay, all right. Now, Paula, riddle me this. Are the twinnies in the same room, or are they sleeping in separate rooms? That is something. I'm going to have to scroll down to the bottom. So please do let me know if they are in the same room. So if they're in the same room and he's not comforted by his twin, because I find sometimes at that age, they need the connection. And there are plenty of Twiniversity families that are still co-sleeping at 2. So if you find that he wants you to sleep in his room, and a thunderstorm, I got to tell you the truth. I think that, okay, good, they're in the same room. For a thunderstorm, that's kind of like all bets are off. Thunderstorms are scary. They're always going to be scary. My kids are 11. I'm sorry to break the news to you. They still get kind of freaked out by thunderstorms. So I wouldn't expect him to sleep through the night during a thunderstorm. But if he wakes up in the middle of the night, we have to now, this is where, if you go to Kim's website, she has like the mother of all plans for toddlers. Because toddlers are a different situation than infants, of course, right? It's like you feel like you got this far, and then all of a sudden something changes, their maturity level changes, and, their maturity level changes, and then all new things happen, and the world becomes scarier, and things that were once comforting are no longer comforting, and it's like their whole world kind of turns upside down. So what I would do is I would have a discussion with him. And I know like you can't necessarily reason with a 2.5-year-old, but also, Paula, are they still in cribs, or are they in toddler beds? Let me know. All right, so the reason why I bring that up is because obviously if they're in a toddler bed, that they're freeing themselves and they're able to liberate themselves from their bed. And if they are in a crib and they are liberating themselves, I want to say that perhaps they need to go to a toddler bed because I want to make sure that they are safely sleeping. It always makes me nervous when people kind of stretch out the crib for too long and they're basically putting their little babies in danger. And also, just a gentle reminder, I don't know how many of you guys saw the article that we had posted, but the recommended space between your cribs is 3 feet. We had a wonderful comment from our friends at Delta Furniture. They were the ones that we could quickly find, and I'm very thankful for that. But a lot of times we as parents of twins, we kind of stuff everything in the room, and so we may be putting their cribs too close together. But if you put the cribs too close together, this little monkey could try to climb out into this little monkey. And we had one very, very close call where a twin got caught between the cribs, and it was potentially a fatal situation, to just be as frank as possible. So if your kids are next to each other and you're thinking that perhaps it's time to switch to toddler beds, if you think that it's time, I do recommend that you do switch to toddler beds. So Paula, going back to getting him to sleep through the night, I would do maybe a reward chart if you can. So, if you make it through the night, all through the night, then you get to take this little astronaut and move him up this little chart that we made. And there are tons of them online. And I'm sure that Julie will find some for us and link them. And actually, Jewel, the chore chart and stuff, there might be, I think Julie's going to send you a good link. I can't remember something, but I know that she knows what I can't remember because she's amazing. All right, so the other thing is so you could try to do a reward system. The next thing you could do is, if you're really worried about it, you might want to ask him why he's getting up. Like, is he able to verbalize, like, I'm getting up because I'm lonely, I'm getting up because I'm cold, I'm getting up, I have to go to the bathroom. So maybe get to the reason of why he's getting up instead of just being, oh, he's getting up. There may be an alarm. We had a situation in our family that the twins were waking up at the same time every single night, and we couldn't figure out why. And then we found out that our neighbor had an alarm clock that went off at that time. So it didn't quite make sense to us, but in the kids' room, they were able to hear it when we didn't. But it was so funny because when we found out, we feel like we struck gold. We were like, why the hell are the kids getting up at this time? It was driving us crazy. All right, so good luck, Paula, and I would definitely try to get to the bottom of it and institute a little reward system and see how that goes. All right, guys, I have another question for you. What do I want to ask you today? Is anybody planning on traveling this summer and having their kids sleep in a pack and play or co-sleeper or something like that? Just give me a shout out. I'm curious to know, when you're traveling with your kids, do you bring your own stuff with you? And I also wanted to let you know that there are twin clubs all over the country, and you could find them if you go to Twiniversity. We have a banner at the top, and Multiples of America has national twin clubs all over the place. And I would recommend that if you're traveling, that you find people that are in that neck of the woods that you're traveling to, because there's a really good chance that that local club could lend you some goodies. I remember that when I was traveling from New York to Florida, instead of bringing my pack and play and toys and an exerciser, that I just contacted the Coral Springs mother of twins. Shout out to my Coral Springs moms, which I joined because I love them so much. But I would call them, and there was this one woman who would lend me everything. And it's not something that most clubs advertise, but twin parents help other twin parents. That's one of our little secret society things that we don't like to tell people. So if you're traveling, you may want to contact a local twin club of where you're going. And if you do not belong to a local twin club, as much as I do love Twiniversity, and I do, nothing beats having a martini or 12 or a cup of coffee with your friends. So if you have a local twin club in your area, I do recommend that you reach out. And I say that all twin clubs and online twin everything should have the Misery Loves Company tagline. Okay. See, everybody's traveling with pack and plays. Chrissy's going to Disney. I got some tips for you, so keep a lookout for those. All right, so Deborah says, one twin shows no signs of being sleepy unless I wait until 9:30. The last nap was 4 to 6. She's a horrible napper and often wakes up multiple times per night. 9 months old. Advice for when They don't show any sleepy signs at the normal bedtime. Okay, I have to read this again. They are 9 months old. They wait. Okay, that last nap might be a little late. I actually think that that's a lot late because if they're sleeping from 4 to 6, a typical bedtime for a 9-month-old would be 7 p.m. So let's maybe change that last nap. I have to see what time they're getting up in the morning. All right, before we finish Deborah's question, I want to give away a prize. Who wants a prize? Woo, 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 woo. It's a little weird that I'm celebrating by myself in here. All right, so here is what we are going to do. We are going to give away a swaddle. All right, let's give away a set of swaddlers. Julie is going to put the information on the side of the swaddlers that we're giving away. You just let us know the size that you need, but we think that these are so fantastic. We want to make sure that you have them. So how are we going to give this away? We are going to literally be super duper duper random. So if you want to win, all you have to write on the side is, I love Twiniversity. We just made that up right now. So if you are fans of Twiniversity, then just throw on the side that you are, I love Twiniversity, you want to win, I want you to win, throw that up on the side. Julie is literally going to pick a random winner, and what she will do is she will direct message you. She will announce who it is, and then we'll just need your shipping address and we will get that off to you. So, super exciting. I love prizes. And we have one more prize before I leave too, which I'm very excited about. All right, now, going back to Deborah. All right, Debs, listen, here's what we got to do. They're 9 months old. They need to take a nap earlier, all right? So I'll just embrace my New York accent at this point in my life, and that's that. So that nap is too late. What I would recommend, what's this? Here, I'm going to go to my own book. I'm going to reference, if you have the book, guys, please turn to page, first stay home, 185 from the Good Book of Twiniversity. The Good Book of Twiniversity is saying that your nap should be 1 o'clock. Why? That's it. So 1 o'clock they go in. That is their second nap. Put them in, let them sleep for that time. But you may have to adjust some schedules. And also, Debs, don't think that that's going to happen overnight. If they got accustomed to sleeping at that time for that long, they're going to want to do that forever. So you kind of just got to Jedi mind trick them into thinking that it is time for them to go to sleep. Jewel, I have to tell you, my messages are not updating. So what I need Julie to do, because, I don't give her enough to do, is I would love if Julie could shoot me over another question and let me know. All right. Oh, see, I have this. It's coming up here. Isn't that cuckoo? All right, guys, let me do this. I love when we have technical troubles. All right, so I'm going to grab another one. Carried my boys 38 weeks. Okay, Kelly. Kells Bells. Kelly Fox says, I carried my boys until 38 weeks. Show off, Kelly. No, I'm only kidding. Congratulations. That's definitely a hurdle. I can't imagine it was the most comfortable 38 weeks of your life. Hello, I know. They were born at 7, 7, and 6, 7. Please tell us how you made such big babies, Kelly. I also suspect that you are shorter. I have this weird theory that's totally not scientific or proven in any way, that my smaller families have bigger babies, and then giant ladies like me have super tiny babies. This is just my hunch. Okay, when should I try to sleep train? I don't know how old they are now. I would say the first thing you do, Kel, is you ask your doctor, can we drop the night feed? Is it okay to drop the night feed? Once the doctor says okay, you come up with a plan. You already have a nighttime ritual in place, which I think you should start doing that immediately, even if they are 2 days old. I think it's good practice for you to get into the habit of it, not necessarily for the 20s. It's definitely more you leading the charge than the 20s leading the charge. So I would say that realistically, about 5 to 6 months is probably the peak time that people want to start sleep training. I think it's also the peak time that we are like done. Absolutely done. I cannot take it anymore. I must sleep. We personally waited way too long because my baby A was still on an apnea monitor at 7 months. So I was like, we can't sleep train her. She's on a monitor, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, the doctor's like, listen, these kids need to sleep. My little chick was waking up like every 35 minutes, pretty much 24 hours a day. Yeah, it was hands down a form of torture. And it's definitely one of the founding reasons of why I started Twiniversity, because I was like, listen, I can't be the only family suffering like this. And clearly I am not. So thank you guys for telling me that I am not alone. But Cal, can I call you Cal? Because we're friends now. Or should I call you Mrs. Fox? What would you prefer? And what does the fox say, Kelly? Because really, if anybody's going to know, it's going to be you. I had to say it. I had no choice. I apologize. So the first thing I would do is speak to your doctor, ask them when it's okay to drop that night feed. The second thing is to get a sleep routine in place. Third thing is to come up with a team of who's going to help you sleep train. And then fourth, put it into action. Okay. Now, let's see. Brianna Moore Alexander. That is a very, very, very regal name. She says, I think I hear twins at 10 months most likely are not sleeping through the night. I still breastfeed and I'm fine, and I find that 1 to 2 a.m. my ID boys feel the need to eat and play. I'm still really exhausted and I'm looking for relief soon. Brianna Moore Alexander, I'm sorry, but here's the scoop. I love that you're breastfeeding, by the way. First of all, everybody, round of applause to Brianna for breastfeeding for 10 months. That is a huge hurdle. Second, you're just exhausted now. I was exhausted at 3 months breastfeeding around the clock. What's your breastfeeding schedule look like? Are you exclusively having them to the tap? Are you pumping and then bottle feeding? I would love to know a little bit more about your situation in order to help you. The thing that I'm actually most concerned about here is, are you getting enough sleep? That sounds selfish, right? Because I should worry about these babies. And I'm not worried about the babies. I'm just worried that if you are breastfeeding all through the night, I'm worried that you're not getting enough sleep, and then I'm worried about your health. And I always want to remind everybody that, we only really get reminded of this when we are on an airplane. But if you look at the little safety packet in an airplane, it says that you should put on your oxygen mask first. So, Brianna, this is something that I want you to think about. Are you able to pump and have your partner perhaps bottle feed? That may be something that you want to consider, so that if they are getting up from 1 to 2 and you do want to still continue to do the night feeds, maybe that's something. They might not be hungry. They may just love you so much that they want that closeness to you. They're also, if they've been doing it for a long time, they're also in the habit of it. Did you ever think about giving them a pacifier? That might be a possibility. They may not want the food. They may want the literal soothing factor that a pacifier brings. Well, you are the human pacifier, actually, right? Because that's what we are when we're breastfeeding moms. So I want you to think about those two things. So the first thing I want you to do is, next time you have your checkup, speak to the doctor. As you can see, this is a pattern here because, like I said, there's no cookie cutter situation and not everybody has the same thing. So I wanted you to make sure that your doctor says that it is totally okay for you to drop that night feed. If the doctor gives you permission, maybe start to express a little bit of breast milk and have your partner or spouse or whoever, your mom, who's ever there, giving it to the babies at least once a day so you could catch up on some sleep. And then finally, if you want to institute a pacifier into their world, look into the MAM pacifiers. They make some phenomenal glow-in-the-dark pacifiers, and you do want to make sure that you're getting pacifiers that are specifically for their age. So you're going to want the 6 months plus, because if you don't, it's just not... The pacifiers, like, people are like, oh, I have pacifiers, we'll just use them. But as your baby's teeth and mouth grows, the structure, that's what I was talking about, the structure of their mouth changes, and the placement of the pacifier and where it is in their mouth plays an important part. So if your babies are kind of over that 6 month mark and you're still using under 6 month pacifiers, you do want to make sure that you change those. But for 10-month-old babies, you definitely want the glow in the dark, because then they could grab them and put them in their mouths. So those are a few things that I would like you guys to do. Okay. Jewel, I wanted to see who won. I can't see. Nope, I can't see. It's just not doing it. I like to have 7,000 screens up. All right, guys. Well, we have to close this out in a little bit. So we are going to talk about Laura's question. So Laura says, how do you handle the transition from one nap and make it a smooth period? Some days my boys take only one nap and they're very cranky by 5 o'clock. That seems too early for bed. they sleep from 7:45 to 7:15 when doing 2 naps. That is really, really good. Laura, you didn't tell me how old they were, so that's a little bit tough. But if you're thinking about transitioning them when they are taking their 2 naps, if they're sleeping that great, I would say they still need 2 naps. That's just my mom to mom advice, that if you find like if something's working, then keep it up, but if it's broken, then try to fix it. So they may not necessarily need to transition at this time, but if you do want to transition, it's kind of like they took a morning nap and they took an afternoon nap, kind of like an early morning nap and a later in the afternoon nap. And now we're going to transition into 1 nap, and it's going to kind of have to go to the middle of the day. So for us, the easiest way to transition would be to extend that morning nap a little bit later, a little bit later, a little bit later, and do it in a slow progression. Do not be like, that's it, today, this is what we're doing. But you slowly transition that morning nap into something that is a little bit later on in the day. All right, guys, we have one more prize to give away. And this one we are going to give away as from me to you guys because I am absolutely obsessed. We are giving away 2 $10 gift certificates to Amazon. Amazon Prime Day is in a few days. And we don't work with Amazon, but it is one of my addictions. Everybody has to have a vice. My vice is Amazon. So because I love Amazon and Amazon Prime Day is coming up and there may be some great discounts for you guys, I want you guys to take advantage of that. So here is what I need you to do. I need you to make sure that you are fans of Twiniversity. I need you to make sure that you are fans of our good peeps at Love to Dream. I would also like for you to link to them and say thank you on their Facebook page. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick out the winners from their Facebook page. So go over to their Facebook page and say thanks for hosting Twiniversity. Keep it up, because what we need is we need them to host more videos for us so then I could have some time with you guys. But regardless, you know I'm going to host them because I would never leave you hanging. So that is all she wrote for the day. Make sure that if you are expecting twinnies. Oh, also, Jewel, could you let them know about every month we give away a seat in our online class? Julie will give you the link to that. And if you are expecting twinnies, please go over and register to enter to win that seat in the class. We really do. Every single month we give away a seat in the class. Next thing, shameless plug, if you have not picked this up, please pick this up. Now, if you have this book, can I ask you a favor? I never ask favors. But if you have this book and you have read it and you found that it was beneficial, or even if you didn't, would you mind going over to Amazon and reviewing it for me? It's sometimes, like, I know it's good, and here's where, this is where, like, I come out of the closet and I tell you things. The more you guys review it, the more steam it gives me to get up and write the next one. We want to write the next one. It took me 2 years to write that one, but I would like to write the next one, but I want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. And you guys in the comments and the support and all of that, it really motivates me, and it gives me such a validating feeling that I'm doing the right thing. So I started this for you. I did not start this for me. My kids are big. My kids are 11. They're fantastic. I just had my daughter put laundry in the dryer. It's like a remarkable thing to me. But whatever you need, please ask us. And if you need support and if you need help, please allow us the opportunity to give that to you. So this topic was sleeping. The next topic is going to be on feeding. We could talk about preschool. We could talk about the first day at preschool, which is going to be harder for you than it is for the twinnies. I know, speaking from my situation, it definitely was. But we have more live chats coming up, and I humbly, humbly, humbly thank you guys for hanging in with me this entire time. And that's it. I'm going to go throw my bathing suit on, jump in the pool, cannonball style with my twinnies, and enjoy the rest of the day. But thank you very much to you guys for joining us. Thank you very much to Love to Dream for being a part of this wonderful live chat. And I look forward to seeing you next time. So see you later, alligators. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Have a great day, guys.